Was the U.S. presence in Benghazi, Libya, largely diplomatic, as the White House and others have described it?
The diplomatic facility in Benghazi would be closed until further notice.
Scratch beneath the surface, and the answer seems fairly obvious. About 30 people were evacuated from Benghazi the morning after the attack, and more than 20 of them were CIA employees. Clearly, the larger mission in Benghazi was covert. The CIA had two objectives in Libya: countering the terrorist threat that emerged as extremists poured into the unstable country, and helping to secure the flood of weapons after the fall of Gaddafi, weapons that could have easily been funneled to terrorists.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
The State Department was the public face of the weapons collection program.
We had a concerted effort to try to track down and find and recover as many manpads and other very dangerous weapons as possible.
But the CIA's role during and after the attacks at the diplomatic post and the CIA annex in Benghazi have so far escaped much scrutiny. The focus has instead been on the failure of the State Department to heed growing signs of the militant threat in the country and ensure adequate security, and on the political debate over why the White House seemed to downplay what was a terrorist attack in the weeks before the presidential election. But Republican Congressman Frank Wolf says the public needs to know more about the CIA's role.
There are questions that must be asked of the CIA, and this must be done in a public way.
Sources at the State Department say this context explains why there was so much debate over those talking points. Essentially, they say, the State Department felt it was being blamed for bungling what it saw as a largely CIA operation in Benghazi. Current and former U.S. government officials tell CNN that then CIA Director David Petraeus and others in the CIA initially assessed the attack to have been related to protests against an anti-Muslim film. And officials say Petraeus may have been reluctant to conclude it was a planned terrorist attack because that would have been acknowledging an intelligence failure. Frank Wolf says he and his office are getting calls from CIA officials who want to talk.
If you're 50 years old and have 2 kids in college and a mortgage, you're not going to give your career up by coming in. So you also need subpoena power. Let people come forward, subpoena them to give them the protection so they can't be fired.